10 months ago. And you'll be expected to help around the house and some other chores, a woman told her, brushing arcs of purple and Gainsborough away from her icy blue eyes. Otherwise, we're not going to impose anything on you we wouldn't on our own daughter, or our nieces, since they live here as well. How many girls here? Well, technically one of them doesn't. Just stays over often because their parents travel a lot. My daughter, as well as my 3 other nieces, who are triplets too, however, so that's 5 girls your age. Sunset, you look really happy to be back. I just really love this series. I think we all do, Sunset. I think we all do. Standing there, Sunset didn't know whether to praise or curse her luck. Whenever it turned out to be the home of the Cubs' parents in the affluent suburb of San Palamo, 482 Golden Oaks Drive to be exact, to make matters both better and worse, it turned out that Armour's mother was the assistant director for Equestria County Department of Social Services. While Twilight Velvet, as the woman was named, had a PhD in child psychology, more importantly, she had the expertise that could only be gained by raising 3 children of her own. Furthermore, Armour's father was Nightlight, both a noted physics professor over at Carolina State University, as well as an author and television host. Still, somehow the two were very involved in their children's lives. Now, you see, Evening Sonata, this is what happens when you remember when your characters get money. Things change. Standing next to her, Night grinned and Sunset scorned slightly. You can relax now. You'll be fine here, I promise. Of course, as my wife mentioned, there will be some adjustments. For example, you'll have to adjust to sleeping in a boy's room for a while, provided that my son did clean up his room. Armour rolled his eyes. Dad, he groaned. You know there is a reason Katie and I moved in together. Knight just chuckled. And here I thought it was because you wanted to keep your brother from getting your comic book collection. As the sun rolls his eyes, Knight addressed Sunset again. Don't mind shining, miss. He's a good kid. He's marrying a wonderful gal. And I trust my son's judgment. So he says he thinks you're okay, then you should be. A thought suddenly came to Velvet's mind. Oh, also, where are you attending school? Carolina County, or one of the ones outside the city? The older woman asked. Carolina, ma'am, Sunset replied. As her eyes darted around, looking at the police officer, the older gentleman and the woman, there was something about them the former pony couldn't put her finger on. Something that seemed unnaturally familiar about them she couldn't yet define. A light pointed on Velvet's mind. Oh, Tia! That'll make things easier then. Seeing a confused expression come onto the teen's face, Velvet explained, Your principal is an old friend of mine. I guess I should call her and let her know about your teen's status. Sunset's eyes suddenly widened in panic. Things were problematic before, things just went nuclear, as far as he was concerned. 40 minutes later of shopping, Sunset and Shining returned to his parents' home. Seated at the kitchen table was Celestia. It was clear she had been waiting for their return. Shining, if you don't mind, I'd like to have a word alone with my student. Fine by me, he told her. Katie's probably going to kill me for being home so late anyway, he said with a grin. Where are my parents? Both of them went off to pick up your brother from a birthday party he was at, I believe, she told him. Okay, I'll just call them later, then. Take care, Celestia. You too, Sunset. With that, he departed, leaving the two alone in the kitchen. It didn't take long for Celestia to begin. I'm guessing you're wondering what I told them? The educator asked, and Sunset nodded. Giving her student a softer glance, she answered, Don't worry, I didn't mention that. I owe a debt of gratitude to that alien princess for fixing everything, and I am a my word. So I'm going to keep my promises to her. Plus, even if I could explain it all, I doubt Velvet would believe me or Luna anyway. I'm certain most people just think that the incident was the result of war construction when the school was built. Thank you, Sunset said in a soft voice. Oh, I'm not done yet, Celestia said. The smile disappeared. I just had to lie to my best friend. Someone I've known nearly all my life, just to cover for you. Velvet and I have been friends since childhood, so she's like family. Furthermore, Shining is marrying my niece, and so that will make them quite literally my family. So as you can see, this is very personal for me. Celestia took a drink from her coffee, then continued. So I want to make this crystal clear, Sunset Shimmer. This chance you've been given is your last. I won't tolerate any more lies, deceit, or whatever you have on your plate. As of now, Velvet will be giving me weekly reports on how your life is here. Likewise, I'll be doing the same with your schoolwork. So that means no more getting Snips or Snails to do your homework for you. Sunset sits in her seat. You don't speak to me anymore since, she said, starting to wish she was somewhere else at the moment. She wasn't sure they remembered what she had done to them, or even what they had done to her fellow students, but the two did recall enough to know they wanted to stay the hell away from her. Good. Also, I'll be informing the vice principal of this as well. I know it's rumored in this school, so let me spell it out for you. Yes, Vice Principal Luna is my younger sister. But what that means is that in this arrangement, she'll have just as much involvement, including get a hold of Velvet should she need to. Understood? Yes, ma'am. Lastly, I feel that your friends should be made aware of your change of residence. At that, Sunset Pack, no, don't, please. Though she kept it off her face, Celestia was shocked. She now saw the fear Sunset had on her face, completely directed at her. Shit, Velvet, you were right. The thought shamed Celestia slightly. She forced her anger and mistrust of the alien teen to subside. I didn't say I would be the one to tell them. I think it should be you. I can't, Sunset told her. Sunset, one of the things you need to learn about humanity is that we rely on each other. I don't know how things were for you on your homeworld, but that princess's actions were typical of your kind. I suspect your species and ours aren't really that different. Maybe someday there will be an official meeting of the world, so we'll find out. But until that time, you're just a human girl. You need to rely on, human nature. And part of that is your circle of friends. So I'm going to give you until Monday to tell them. But if you don't, I will. I'm aware you work part-time after school for the Kinks, and as the guardians of their niece, they deserve to know about you and your situation. But that much Pinkie can tell them. Regardless, they are your friends, and they're likely concerned about you. That's what friendship is about, after all. Celestia sat there for a few more seconds before taking another drink of coffee and fizzing up with, one last thing, Sunset. They have a saying here in this household. The difference between the words cousin and sister is non-existent in this family. I sincerely suggest you not fight with any of the girls here, because they are very protective of one another, and they will end any fight you start, and it will not go well for you. She drank the remaining coffee, then looked at the tea once more. Now, do you have any questions for me? No, but I do have something to say, ma'am. It sounds like you really don't have much faith in me. Given your track record, can you blame me? Fortunately for you, I have a promise to keep, in faith in my students, including you. It was the third knock on the door the following morning that stirred Sunset awake. Her head screaming, she sat up, bedhead on her hair, a very loose Sapphire Source tank top that was slipping off her shoulder. She was barely able to open her eyes and felt completely exhausted. Even though the bed she was currently on was utter heaven compared to the busy bunk she had been sleeping on the past few years, the nightmare of the previous night ruined any real chance of sleep for the first night. She had likely been completely safe since her exile began. There was another knock on the door before she could gather her wits about her. Sunset mumbled something that sounded vaguely in the ballpark of Kim In. As her vision came to, she saw a figure before her. She blinked, rubbed her eyes, making sure she wasn't hallucinating. But standing before her, wearing a black and gray hoodie with Japanese on the front and a poodle skirt, was a person she never thought she'd see in her lifetime. Twilight Sparkle. There she stood, the same soft smile on her face and same twinkling purple eyes. Good morning, she said softly. Are you okay? Sudden flood of emotions overcame Sunset, too overwhelmed to speak, as she sat up to look at her fellow pony. A dozen sensations rolled through her, joy at seeing her first real friend once more. Sadness at being reminded of how that friendship came about, confusion as to why the Alicorn Princess returned to Earth. Twilight, she asked, barely able to get a hold of herself, what are you doing here? Twilight mumbled, or looking at the floor in accent akin to flashlight than anything else. Finally, with her head still down, she said, your shirt. Sunset immediately realized that as she sat up. The other strap of the tank top had slid off the shoulder, and the whole already oversight had slid down her body, and was hanging down past her torso, with now nothing covering her. Finally! Unbearable! bare-chested woman I can actually enjoy in this! Finally! No more sexual awkwardness! No more insanity! I can actually enjoy a bare-chested, naked woman on this fic without... That'll be enough of that! Sunset quickly covered herself with the nearest pillow, turning bright red in the process. A rousing amount of laughter sounded from behind the door, and another girl came into the room, patting Twilight on the shoulder. Wearing a Care Bear t-shirt and jeans, she had long black hair, an icy color of Twilight. Twilight, once again, you have proved such a way with lads, the other girl said, grinning. But Twilight stammered. Don't mind her, she's socially awkward, the newcomer said. Recovering somewhat, Twilight blushed and said, let's try this again. Hi, I'm Twilight Sparkle, and this joker here is one of my cousins, as well as my dubious best friend, Octavia Millie. Twilight, I am offended you would say that. Twilight shrugged. It's a contest between you and Daisy. At least she doesn't laugh at me. Not that you noticed, blockhead, Octavia drawled. Anyway, you can just call me Tavi, and she goes by Twilight. And you're Sunset, Sunset, the ex-pony replied as he wriggled under the seat to adjust her tank top. As he did, she now realized why things seemed so familiar. This was the human Twilight Sparkle, and the Alicorn princess that Sunset knew was likely still in Equestria, since the Dimensional gates were still closed. Likewise, that pony's pet dog, Spike, had a counterpart in the 8-year-old boy living in that house, though how that happened was well beyond Sunset's ability to grasp. Because McCarthy thought it would be funny. That's why. She put down the joke, a girl's best friend is her dog. And she wanted to go for a Wizard of Oz reference. That's why. She thought it would emerge a laugh. Despite the fact that it didn't make sense, she thought it would make you people laugh. I am curious. The younger lot of you out there. Did you think it was funny? Did you question it? Please let me know. I'm curious. Well, Mom figured you were going to sleep in since you likely didn't sleep well. Unfamiliar location and all. Twilight rambled, unaware of Sunset's thought. So she's making brunch now. I set up the bathroom down the hall if you want to take a shower or bath. Chances are the triplets aren't going to use it right now since they're doing their morning workout. Afterwards, we can eat and talk. I'm guessing you want to know a little more about me and Tavi, and we'd like to get to know you as well. A third girl, one of Chinese ethnicity, and goldy hair puffier than Pinky's, poked her head through the door. Hey, I heard we got company. Yeah, didn't you get Mom's text? I had a tournament last night, remember? The new girl told her. I was exhausted by the time we got home. Ari and Sunny are still asleep. Didn't know it was that late, Twilight said. Anyway, this is my other cousin, Adagio Dazzle. Her sisters are still asleep. Dazzle, this is Sunset Shimmer. She's gonna be staying with us for a while. Adagio offered her hand. That's cool. Nice to meet you. She looked at the clock on the wall. Wait, does that say 9:30? Shit! Sunny's gonna miss her show. You know how she gets when she misses an episode. Yeah, well, go wake her and let Sunset get ready for the day, Octavia admonished. Good idea. We see you downstairs, Sunset, Twilight commented as the girls departed the room. Okay. Sunset answered as he struggled for words, lost for them once more. Maybe this was Twilight Sparkle. Perhaps he could have handled the whole thing better, but the awkward girl standing in front of her was definitely not that pony. And so Sunset was just going to have to start off from scratch. Maybe that was a good thing. There were probably large differences between the two Twilights, just as there had been between the two Celestias, and most definitely the two Spikes. It'd be unfair to hang what Sunset knew of the Alicorn Princess on this girl standing before her. Besides, if we're going to be living together, I should get to know her, and not assume she's like the Twilight I knew. Sunset thought she climbed out of bed to get ready for the day. Velvet had worried about Sunset's freak-out earlier the night at Buka, given she was overwhelmed. But thankfully the girls had taken care of that for her. They were now doing their best to try and make her feel comfortable, since she would be living here for a while. But unfortunately for them, tomorrow was a school day. Velvet knocked on Sunset's door and poked her head in. Girls, I know you're all having fun, but you should get ready to call in the night, okay? When the girl goes, she had, I've got to get up early, get us all fed, then drop off both Spike and Sunset before heading to work. Twilight, your father will be taking you to 5 to school tomorrow. So with that being said, cut us all folks some slack, okay? Fine, we get the message, Mom, Twilight answered. Popping up anyway, I'll feather it. Arya stretched. Yeah, besides, I need to get up early anyway. I'm gonna take a shower before everyone hogs all the hot water. When her answer earned scowls from the other teens, she asked contestantly, what did I say? Sunset chose to ignore that, instead dressed Velvet. Besides, I'm guessing Principal Celestia will still want to see me before class starts, she haphazard. Most likely, Velvet agreed. Good night, girls. See you in the morning. With that, Velvet closed the door, leaving the group in peace. I swear to God, if this leads to another cuddle session, I am done with this fic. I barely survived the last one. About an hour later, Velvet noticed that the lights were still on. Girls, it's 2 in the morning. She mentally grumbled, you better have a good reason for staying up so late. Opening the door, she was prepared to scold the Hexad, but stopped. Though the lights were on, the 5 girls were asleep on the bed. Though they all had their own separate bedrooms, it was more common for Twilight and Octavia to sleep together, given they'd been doing it since they were children. But when Velvet found the triplets did it as well, it was an interesting coincidence, where also when all 5 started doing so. And now there was a 6. In the center, seeming as they always belonged, was Sunset. There was a hint of a smile on the girl's face, as though she subconsciously knew for the first time in a long while she didn't have to fear being alone. Velvet had no doubt whatsoever that tonight would probably be the best night of sleep that troubled youth would have in a long time. A motherly smile crept onto the matron's face. Quietly entering the room, she bent down and kissed her daughter on the forehead, and then her nieces. After a slight second, she did the same to Sunset. Taking care to be quiet, she slipped the counter over the top of the group, gazing at it one last time before she turned off the light switch. Good night, my sweet girls, she whispered warmly before closing the door. Okay, Fic, you and I are done professionally. I'm done. No. No, stop hitting me with heartwarming moments. I need to bask Evening Sonata again. You see anything? You see? This is what gets me to like you. Not drugs, but heartwarming moments of girls sleeping together, cuddling and snuggling. That's what I want. Well, I'm surprised he didn't find a way to end that with an innuendo. Because as we all know, sleeping and cuddling then leads to other things, like fondling and caressing and kissing each other and then looking at them. Okay, that's it, bring out the taser! No, wait, Trixie, it was a tie!